This week on Extracts, Magic Fist, Dead Brother Assist. I really thought that train would have missed.
It's the Children Are Evil episode. Welcome to Extracts, a podcast where we introduce each other to our fandoms one episode at a time. I'm your host, Erin Cline, an X-Files spooky bitch.
And I'm your other host, Stella Cheeks, a slut for Star Trek the original series. Each podcast, we pick 2 episodes that fit a cinematic theme, watch them together, and then record our feelings.
Our theme this week is Children Are Evil.
There are a couple of Evil Children episodes that I could have chosen from, but since we already did Charlie X and Miri for definitely better themes, here's looking at you, Red Hot Pants, I went with the Season 3 episode, And the Children Shall Lead. Basically, a space ghost tricks these children into killing their parents and manipulating adults, and Kirk is like, oh, no fucking way. Look, it's not a great episode, but it fits the theme, so I get full points.
And for the X-Files, we're in Season 2 with Episode 21, The Calusari. You might remember this one as the one with the chicken sacrifice and the child possession, or perhaps the one where a little boy murders his toddler brother with an amusement park train because his parents gave him his balloon. Either way, really hits the theme on the head with this one as well. So, you know, children, they're evil.
You have one.
An evil child?
Child? You said children are evil. You said
That's
some
true.
children are evil.
That's true. Are you ready for digging in there, Mr. Spock?
Sure.
Everyone has been deeply affected by what has happened here, with some important exceptions.
And now for a quick-ish episode summary. The Enterprise is responding to a distress call from the planet Triacus. The boys, Kirk, Spock, and Bones, beam down to find the colonists dead all around them, seemingly by their own hands. Well, all the adult colonists. The kids are still alive and playing Ring Around the Rosie. You know, that very normal and fun game that's not at all about a plague. Anyways, Kirk and Spock look around for clues as to why the colonists killed themselves, but all they find is a creepy cave full of bad vibes. Bones thinks that the kids have amnesia due to extreme grief since they are acting all normal, but Kirk is not buying it. Naturally, they take the kids back to the Enterprise, where they try to bribe them with ice cream. It doesn't work, and the 13-year-old is like, ugh, our parents suck, just like you, Captain. Sure would hate to see anything terrible happen to you. When the children, again, are left unattended, they summon a ghost /demon/alien/lawyer with a kicky little witch chant. Gorgon, yeah, like that one, but also not like that one, delivers a rousing speech to the children to tell them to take control of the crew and take the ship to Marcus 712, I don't remember, where they will make millions of friends and also some enemies, dun dun dun. Using their fist magic, TM, the kids trick the crew into thinking they are all still in orbit above Triacus, when in reality, they're on their way to take over the whole planet. This is bad enough, but even worse for the 2 red shirts that Kirk and Spock beam out into space, thinking they are sending them down to the planet, but oopsie, they are dead in space now. You would think that they would check before beaming people all willy-nilly, but the rules are for other starships, not the Enterprise. But no time to think about the dead crewmen in space because space knives! Anyways, thankfully Spock, a child of 2 worlds, uses his telepathy to break free from the fist magic and then shoves Kirk into an elevator where the spell is broken because of true love, probably. Spock.
So much left in this episode.
Spock figures out that the children are merely possessed by Gorgon, who must be the evil embodiment of an ancient group of space-warring marauders. Obviously, Kirk doesn't want to kill them, though he totes will if he needs to, so he decides to work with the computer this time and shows the kids that their parents were nice before they killed them, and Gorgon really is a bummer. Then they cry and he melts and everyone is safe but sad. Space tears. Look, sometimes when the episodes aren't great, I really just go off the rails and
I feel like the longer Extracts goes on, our summaries just get more and more unhinged and longer.
The summaries are unhinged. The synopsis showdowns are just jokes. This is just...
We've done so many episodes.
This is just us hanging out right now. You're just along for the ride. I knew that I'd get you with a Spock, a child of 2 worlds.
It helped that you were already laughing uproariously.
Space knives! What did you think of this episode?
It's fucking weird. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting, but it was confusing that this space ghost grandpa is leading this pack of children for really unclear reasons.
Yeah, he just wants to take over planets, I guess.
I guess, but it was weird too that it's presented as like, children, you can kill your parents and then do whatever you want. No one will ever tell you what to do. And then when the shit starts to hit the fan, his plan is to yell at them and be like, we're in a military, the place you can have no fun and you can't make any decisions for yourself. As though that would work. Like, that was very confusing. It's sort of explained that he's the manifestation of several marauding warlords, I guess. Which is why he's wearing a colorful cape, I guess.
It's like it's just like, Spock, I did some research and I found that this colony used to have like wars and stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's why the bad vibes are there anyways.
It's very strange.
Not great.
The kids were very good.
Yeah, the acting is good. You may recognize that one kid, the old one, the 13-year-old. He was Kirk's nephew that dies in Operation Annihilate. Remember, it was like a little redheaded kid and he didn't have any lines.
I kind of remember that.
That's him.
Okay.
So like we've seen him before, and this time he got to have a whole lot of lines.
Oh yeah,
he was the leader.
He had a big part. It made more sense too that he was the leader later because he's so much older than everyone.
Significantly older.
So for the first part of the episode, it was like, why is this teenager hanging out with these like actual children? That was very weird. But you know, whatever. You're alone on a planet.
Yeah.
Do whatever, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I thought Kirk was great in this. I loved the scene in the elevator.
We all love the scene in the elevator.
Very hot and also very funny.
But I'm losing command. I'm alone. I've lost command.
It's funny because we've talked about this before too, but I thought this was a great example of Star Trek and Shatner as Kirk have this reputation of like, and that really only happens when something is like out of control, like another person is in his body, or he's experiencing some kind of mania, or
he's
like
being manipulated,
right? And so it's like it fits inside of the character and inside of like the show as a whole really well in a way that's just like not presented outside of Star Trek, which I find fascinating. And this was a great example of that because I loved this scene. I thought it was very funny because it is like. It is wild overacting, but it's on purpose. It's supposed to be like that. And by then, I was already having a rollicking good time.
Yeah, this episode is like 15,000 times better if you watch it with somebody than if you watch it by yourself. Yeah, when I was doing my research about this, a lot of people historically hate this episode and think it's one of the worst episodes. I think this episode is wildly mid. We've watched worse episodes already.
Yes,
significantly worse. And we'll watch even worse ones.
Right. Can't wait.
Yeah, don't worry. This is a very mid episode. And, you know, people were talking about why they hate it. And one person.
Because there's children in it.
Well, yeah, you know, children.
That's what it is.
I think it's mostly because the plot doesn't make sense and that one guy is a really bad actor. I think that's mostly right. But some person was like, oh, the scene in the elevator, that's classic Shatner overacting. It like really ruins it, really brings it down. And it's like, there's literally a reason why he's acting that way.
Yeah. He's realizing his worst fear. And like, if his is overreacting, you'd have to say the same thing about Uhura and Sulu.
Yeah.
Like they're doing the exact same, like,
space knives.
Yeah. Like they're everyone is at this like elevated intensity. And so it feels like totally fitting that he has this like breakdown.
Except for the red shirts who are clearly being manipulated to see nothing and just stand there.
Yeah.
No reaction to anything ever. Palace guards don't got nothing on us.
Maybe that's their fear. Their biggest fear is realized is if they notice us, they'll shoot us into space unprotected.
Or abandon us on a planet. Because there are two people abandoned on a planet. Theoretically, they go back for them. TBD. And those two that fully just get shot out into space.
Why did no one check? I do not understand. Because as it was happening, I was just like, what the fuck? They can't. There's no way.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
It's wild. It is somebody different. That's just a dude standing at that console that I didn't recognize. So it's not like
and
Scotty is doing it.
Maybe he was whammy to be able to see like if he's looking at the readers and it's
that
like,
would make sense. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're definitely still around this planet. You know, so because as soon as Spock looks over, he's like, well, yeah, we're definitely not around this planet. Whoops, a doodle.
That was wild. That's like another preconception about Star Trek too, is that they just like willy-nilly kill a bunch of red shirts. And like I've seen a lot of episodes, but they don't willy-nilly kill them a lot. Like this was
willy-nilly.
This was pretty egregious. Like, oh shit, they are dead.
Bye.
Never even address it either. They're just like, oh, we shot them into space. Anyway, let's go figure out what's up with these evil children, I guess.
Anyway, bye. Yeah, the kids are really good in this. I like that they like disperse and they all have their own little, like the kid that's like manipulating Scotty.
Yes.
That
kid's intense.
That kid's very intense. All of the kids were good. Or even the kid, like when he was asking for a different ice cream and he had like, he gave Chapel weird vibes and she was like, okay, here's your ice cream. All right, it's fine.
You weirdo.
And the girl was really good. She was probably one of the younger ones and she was really good.
Mm-hmm. She did a great job.
She definitely had good second in command cult leader vibes.
Yes, absolutely. Tiny little Children of the Corn girl.
Yeah.
100%. Absolutely.
Really good.
The little Asian boy who cries at the end also. He just kind of like mixes in and at the end they're like, money shot. We know we can get you to cry. And he's like, my parents are dead. It was like, you nailed it, kid.
Yeah, and a really like diverse group of kids too.
Mm-hmm. I liked that it was very diverse. That felt intentional.
Well, which also makes sense if you're going to like go to a different planet to colonize a different planet. Like probably we want a bunch of different types of like people and backgrounds. I think they were all archaeologists or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Science,
whatever. Science and space or whatever. Okay, so me and Bobby definitely held this back from you. So the reason why Gorgon is such a bad actor, his name is Martin Belly. He is, yes, that Martin Belly. If you know the lawyer that had like celebrity clients like Zsa Gabor and Errol Flynn and Muhammad Ali and Mae West and the attorney for Jack Ruby who shot Lee Harvey Oswald and also the one that interacts with the Zodiac Killer on TV and if the letter. That is that guy for realsies.
Why?
It's the third season and they thought, and he was like a famous celebrity attorney and they thought, oh, we could get a ratings boost if we get this guy in. So his kid was cast as one of the like creepy children and they were like, oh, well, let's just see, you know, we don't have anybody cast as that will be a fun thing. Put a celebrity on there. People will watch because of that. That is why he does such a fucking bad job is because he's not an actor. He's a lawyer and he's literally just saying the lines very enunciated. Let us go to this planet where we will meet other friends and maybe some enemies together, children, and so shall it be, and so shall it be. That is why he's bad. Yeah,
what
that guy.
A weird casting choice, too, that people during the time contemporarily to this episode coming out would know who he is and be like, why is this lawyer a ghost in space?
Why is this guy here at all? Part of the reason he is like green and glowy is because when Roddenberry saw the performance pre-effects, he was so appalled. That is the word I read. He was appalled by the performance that he's like,
he wasn't going to have effects?
We better put some effects on this bullshit because we gotta like distract people or whatever because this is bad. This isn't like fun bad. This is bad and we probably should have just gotten a regular ass actor.
Why wouldn't you get a regular actor?
Bad.
He's so bad. I said when we were watching it, it felt like he was playing a really bad version of the Ghost of Christmas Past, like in a community theater level production or like a high school production. He's the grandpa that's been cast.
Yeah, it's insane. That is why he is so bad.
His costume is confusing.
Yeah, he's like a weird cape. He's bad. He's green. He's glowing.
Once he starts to melt, it was like, okay, I like this. And this is the only choice about this actor.
Yeah, he starts to melt because they stop believing in him or whatever. Also, why would he melt?
Because that's what he really looks like. That's what the real mushed together warlords look like. He's
right,
just
because that is what evil looks like. Melty.
There's no race. Evil can look however it wants.
Just melty.
It's got a melty eye.
Got an eyeball down here.
Its forehead is pointed in one direction.
Green and melty.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but isn't that wild?
That's such a strange decision. It's such an important character, too. It's not like he's just like a dude who is in the episode.
Right, because you would think that he would need charisma, like to like manipulate the children, but he just like screams at them essentially, like weird talks at them. And I guess he gives them fist magic or whatever. But, like, you would think that he would need some kind of, like, you know.
Anything?
Candy.
How do they learn this ritual? Why? Who calls this warlord up that these children then learn this weird nursery rhyme?
The song?
Yeah. It's a long song.
It is a long song.
Like, where the fuck did they learn this long-ass song? I did like the, foreshadowing of the Ring Around the Rosie, because I said the same thing in my notes, like, oh, yes, I love a song about a plague that we just treat as totally normal.
Totes normal.
Totally fine. I thought that was going to be their magic, that they, like, went in the circle and they made Kirk, like, anxious or whatever.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere, I don't have it written down what they say, but I think I read somewhere that chant specifically was taken from some kind of, like, colonial witch stuff that they found, because it's like, they use the Gorgon name, but then they never describe why they call him Gorgon. And then they have like Old Testament stuff in there because the name of the episode "And the Children Shall Leave" is from Isaiah 11:6. It's like the wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion, and the folding together, and the little children shall lead them. So like that's got,
Terrifying.
And then it's got that cult vibe, and then the like witchy incantation and the magic or whatever. So it's like a bunch of bullshit just smashed together, and they were like, I don't know.
Good enough.
This is what we're doing. I also read, so the guy that wrote this name was Edward J. Lasco, and somebody, I don't think I wrote it down, but somebody was like, yeah, he went on to write a bunch of other real shit episodes of television on other TV shows. So this guy, not great.
Not great.
Just overall, we're not big fans of this guy, which I thought was really funny. Just to be like, yeah, this is just typical of Lasco's work. Also, like, I read somewhere that, I think in like a 1986 interview or something, Leonard Nimoy was like, this is my least favorite episode. This is the worst episode, which is like, again, I think dramatic. There are for sure worst episodes. But I don't know when he decided that he hated it, if he hated filming it, if he just didn't like the story, if it was the lawyer, but specifically Spock in this one.
Does not want to be there.
I guess, like, canonically, we could be like, I guess he just hates fucking kids or whatever. But, like...
Earth children. So many emotions.
Well, he does. He's like, it's typical of humans to repress their emotions and not know what's happening. So maybe that's why they're happy. And then Bones is like, they must have amnesia. No other explanation.
I love that Bones is absolutely horrified anytime it's brought up that the children might be evil. Like, absolutely not. No way is this child evil. Absolutely
I'm a doctor, not a pediatrician. Wait, what?
Those are technically doctors.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Children aren't people until they're 13. Yeah, this episode's just like a mess.
I was going to say too, I love that Bones just comes back at the end. It's like, what a weird thing we've been going through, eh?
You all get whammied? Anybody need some stimulants? No? Yes?
Chapel was like, bad vibes. I'm getting bad vibes from these kids. And so she and Bones just were like, let's just go hang out in the doctor's office for like the whole time.
I mean, who eats peach chocolate pistachio ice cream? Monsters.
Chocolate pistachios sure can all hook you up. And peach. Oh, I'm going back to my quarters.
I can't be a part of this. I did read somewhere that a bunch of consensus is that people didn't like Kirk's like brusque, authoritative, like hostile attitude to the children. They're
evil.
A, they're evil. B, he doesn't know what's going on. But also, if we think of it pre them doing all of their magic or whatever, this is not going to make sense to you, but how I headcanon this, there is a thing that is revealed about Kirk's past, and he has like trauma of surviving with other children. And so I think for me, when this happens and these kids are like, la la la, ring around the rosy, I feel like that is a huge trigger trauma for him. And that's why he's like, no, this is not how this works. This is absolutely not how this works. I've been surrounded by bodies with other children. I know what a survivor looks like. This is sus. So that's my personal headcanon, which I think makes sense. But also, you know, these were shot in crazy order, and who knows?
Yeah.
We got to headcanon this shit, or else it's unwatchable sometimes. But again, I don't think this is the worst episode. It's just that it would have, I feel like this episode would have been so much better and would not be considered as bad as it is, even though the plot is very meh, if they had a different actor other than that lawyer.
Yeah, I said too while we were watching it, it felt so weird that it was an old man. Like, why wasn't it a kid?
Yeah,
why
good call.
Like, why wouldn't it be another child manifesting to these kids? That would make so much more sense.
Yeah.
And would be creepier to see a child yelling all that shit at the end. It would have been way more effective.
Or like yelling and then turn into an adult and then melt.
Yeah, I'd like that. It's a bizarre choice that I did not care for. I'm glad to know everyone in the moment knew it was bad.
Yeah, it's not good. I did think that this was funny. So in the James Blish novelization of this episode, Sulu is terrified by missiles and not little knives.
Space knives, not little knives, big knives.
Big knives, twisty knives.
Big twisty knives, whole tunnel of them. Big old space knives.
Which is silly, because Sulu canonically loves swords. And it would make more sense if he was scared of missiles in space instead of, swords. Why would there be swords? Though sometimes they do see wild shit. Like that one time they saw Abraham Lincoln. So, it's hard. They got to really roll with the punches here.
Season 3, we're going to mention Space Lincoln in every single episode until we watch the fucking episode.
We were kind of talking about how, they don't explain the presence of this guy who's just, the manifestation or whatever. So apparently also in another book, Greg Cox's Q Continuum trilogy, he talks about this guy being part of a, quote, powerful gang of interstellar evildoers, which included the god from Star Trek V, the entity from the Day of the Dove, which we'll see, the swirly entity, Q, Gorgon. So it's just these otherworldly evil space entities. And he's like, yeah, they're all part of a similar family of space monsters who glow. Yep, I'm going to write that in a book. And you know what? Good for him.
Good for him.
Good for him. That's the job of the Star Trek novelist to make all of this make sense.
Yeah.
So good on James Blish and Gregory Cox, who, again, both of them write really good Star Trek novels. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about this. There are some fun moments. We get the elevator scene, which is very important in fan videos, as you can imagine. It's a very important scene.
They are all up in each other's shit.
Yeah. Some of the most important scenes in those fan videos come from the worst episodes, and that's just something we have to deal with.
While we were watching it, right before this, there was a shot of Leonard Nimoy from waist up, and Stella said, Spock should be allowed to take his shirt off more. And so then in the elevator, when he says Jim and makes him come away from his space beast or whatever, Stella then went, Spock, you should take your shirt off more. So in
Kirk's voice.
Yeah, so now that's what I think of.
Look, Leonard Nimoy was a very svelte and handsome man with nice hands, and he should be allowed to be naked more, I think. Retroactively.
I mean, I don't disagree with you.
Even though technically Spock wears more clothes because he's cold all the time, blah, blah, blah. Who cares?
Blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Child of two worlds. We get it.
We get
it. I also just wanted to say I thought that Scotty was great in this. I love when his engineer assistant is
throw down.
He's like, don't touch it. Scotty's like, don't tell me when I can't fucking touch in the engine room, motherfucker.
I love that pre-whammied he's ready for a fight and post-whammied he's ready for a fight.
If you touch them, Captain, I will kill you. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Here's the thing.
He can.
I will kill you. I'm Scottish and I'm ready to fight.
Right.
Look at my comb over. Season 3 is rough for Scotty.
It's come back, not a comb over.
Sorry, it's come back. Slick. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Synopsis showdown.
Sure.
The Enterprise is infested with children. It completely ruins the vibe. Turns out Picard was right.
Children working with a grandpa ghost in a cloak kill their parents, try to kill the Enterprise crew with fist magic. Kirk, treating them like tiny computers, defeats them by giving them permanent trauma.
I feel like we said fist magic a lot, but we did not actually talk about it at all.
And we're not gonna. Next segment.
All right, quick-ish episode summary.
That's why we say ish.
True, you're right. We open in an amusement park where a sullen and shitty-looking child named Charlie is upset because his younger brother, toddler Teddy, is being less shitty and more loved by his parents. Demonstrated when the toddler lets his balloon escape to the wind and the shitty child must give him his balloon to make up for it, which, to be fair, is really shitty of the parents. In response, Charlie uses evil magic to lure his brother out of the bathroom and straight into the path of an amusement park train, Anna Karenina style. Months later, because someone... Someone had thought to take a photo at the exact moments before Teddy became train grease. Mulder is looking at the balloon floating under its own power and getting spooky stuff hard on. Our old pal, appearing for the first time, Chuck, does his science/magic and shows them that a mysterious electromagnetic force taking the form of a child was dragging the balloon along. Mulder naturally goes to visit the grieving family and is like, hey, did you know that your son was murdered by an electricity ghost? It does not go particularly well. While all of this is happening, Scully notices Charlie's grandma creeping around, drawing swastikas on the boy's hand, and Scully is now convinced that somehow this is related to Munchausen by proxy, were perpetrated by the grandmother. After discussing this case further with Steve, the dad, he reveals that the grandmother has always been kind of creepy and really, really did not want him to marry her granddaughter. He also reveals that she moved in with them shortly after Teddy was born because a bunch of weird shit started happening. Anyway, sure, that's not important. Scully, convinced that there is abuse happening, recommends a social worker for Charlie to talk to. But when Steve tries to take him to see her, bam, he's murdered by his own tie in the garage door opening mechanism. Also, Charlie's right there, looking evil as fuck. After this second untimely death, the police find dead chickens in the grandmother's room, evidence of sacrifices. And Mulder finds some spirit ash in the garage because, of course, he fucking finds spirit ash in the garage. After this, shit hits the fan. The grandmother brings in 3 Calusari, or Romanian mystic types, and they attempt to exorcise the evil from the child. Of course, the social worker shows up while all of this is happening, and Charlie starts convulsing, because of all the evil inside of him. Grandma grabs the boy and shuts him into a room where, this is a direct quote from the Wikipedia summary, suddenly, Charlie brings a pair of chickens back to life and they kill Golda, which is, to be fair, what happened?
Her eyes out.
They pecked her eyes out, but she technically had a heart attack. Anyway, it was evil. Charlie eventually reveals it wasn't him who was doing all of this evil, but in fact another child named Michael. Gasp! And that was his stillborn twin, who the parents have never told Charlie about, and who, gasp again, the grandmother was like, yo, we gotta go unbind these 2 souls, but Steve refused. Maybe that's why Golda didn't want him to marry her granddaughter, because he was a fucking idiot. Charlie starts seizing again, and they go to the hospital, but psych, it's really Michael in there, and he convinces his mother to take him home. Scully and Mulder are now fully on board with the notion of the spirit of his evil twin is killing people, and Scully goes to protect Maggie, the mom. And Mulder goes to rustle up the Calusari to complete the ritual. Scully and Maggie nearly die from an attack by Michael, and then eventually Mulder gets the Calusari into the hospital where no one notices that they're participating in an exorcism, and Mulder is told, don't fucking look at it, you moron, which he ignores, of course. Michael's spirit finally leaves, and Maggie and Charlie are reunited, and as they're leaving, the Calusari forewarn Mulder, it knows you, you fucking doorknob. The end.
It knows you. Mulder is on the devil's speed dial, and he cannot. That's why when he shows up, he's like, I know what you are.
Yeah, right?
I looked you right in the eyes one time. You know who I am. I know who you are. I know what you are.
We're not doing this. I will drag race with the devil.
That is the title of Mulder's autobiography for sure. Drag Race with the Devil.
So what'd you think of this episode?
It was fine. It wasn't bad. Again, like the other episode, the kid is a good actor. Like, he is good at being creepy. And I think before the reveal of Michael, he does a good job of being Charlie sometimes and then being Michael. Mm-hmm. Right? Because, like, the scene when his dad is dying, he's, like, creepy, but then he's not. And he's like, no, not my dad, not my dad, not my dad. And so, like, that was confusing for me because I was like, well, I thought he was doing it, but now he's all sad. And, like, I mean, it's horrific, but, like, if you're doing it, blah, 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 like, different energy than when he made that train hit his brother or whatever. So then the reveal of it being Michael made sense. And I thought that kid did a really good job. Also, like, I feel like the name Charlie is used all the time for evil kids, right?
Yeah, there's something about it.
Don't name your boy child Charlie.
Yeah, there's something about yelling, Charlie! Charlie! It's bad.
We got Charlie X, right? From Star Trek. Bad vibes.
Yep. Charlie Brown, notoriously bad vibes.
Don't you love Charlie Brown?
I do.
You just dress your child up as Charlie Brown?
Yeah, but the whole thing with Charlie Brown is all the other kids call him a wishy-washy type of dope. He's a doofus.
A little bit different than making your dad hang himself.
I mean, maybe his vibes are so bad that his parents are like, you know what? Whatever.
That is how these episodes connect, I guess. Kids suck in so much of the parents off themselves. Oh, woof. Yeah, I mean, I think the acting is good in this one, but the story is kind of like
confusing.
I don't even think it's confusing. I think it's kind of meh, and I think it's kind of, I don't know if it's offensive or if it's just lazy to be like, yes, it's Eastern European magic.
Yeah.
Here's some chickens. Bye. Like, it does feel very broad and not, whatever. But I think the girl that plays the mom is really good. I thought she did a good job.
Yeah, she was
I think
great.
all the acting is good. And I do think it makes sense. Like, the story makes sense. And I do think the main Calusari guy did a good job. He has the scenes he's in are really good. The way he takes charge, but also talks Mulder into / you never have to talk Mulder into doing things, but brings him in, is like, I recognize that you will be helpful.
Right.
Please come help or whatever. Was good. And also little kids doing exorcism scenes, that's pretty intense. And that kid did a good job.
Yeah, I thought he did a very good job. That's one of the criticisms of this episode is that it's very similar to the ending scene of The Exorcism, which, of course.
Yeah, that's how exorcisms end.
Exactly.
Theoretically. Or, you die, or the devil gets inside somebody else. I don't know. But, it feels like a exorcism, successful exorcism should end the same way.
Yeah, that's
right?
what it looks like. Exactly.
Sort of.
It's the deal. Right. Yeah. It's that. I don't feel that way about this episode. I feel like it's fine. Maybe at the time it felt more like this movie from the 1970s. They're directly ripping it off. But an additional 20 years later, it's fine. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, and also homages and blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
doesn't matter. So, yes. The other big downfall for this episode for most people is the inconsistencies in the plot. So that makes sense. Most people like that it's kind of creepy and that the acting is good, but the plot is just
What are the
weird.
Inconsistencies, though?
Well, why does this magic exist in this way? Why was it never happening before? Was it only Teddy that brought this on? Or why is Charlie also being affected in the medical way?
Yeah. I guess I just assumed that Michael and Charlie were just fine and chill, but then Teddy came along and Michael was like, abso-fucking-lutely not. I'm the brother here. No fucking way.
But if they needed to do a soul unbinding from his birth, why then would that be dormant until another kid exists? They basically say this other kid is Hitler. What? It's weird.
Yeah.
It's.
But maybe they just ignored all of the bad stuff for a while, and then it got worse because the grandma came and exacerbated it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think part of it too is we've seen much more inconsistent X-Files.
Yeah, this one seems pretty.
This one's just
straightforward.
Fine. Yeah,
he's got a devil inside him. The grandma's trying to get the devil out.
Yeah, you got it. You've seen enough spooky shit. You get it.
Seems pretty over the plate.
Yeah. Would this surprise you to know it came from an idea Chris Carter had?
No.
He had a singular idea of someone getting hanged with a garage door opener, and then they built this entire episode around that idea.
I feel like there was a straighter line to that.
Nope.
I feel like you could have just started it with that and then been regular ghost. Right?
No. Romanian child ghost.
Yeah, that seems complex.
The swastika's definitely important.
Definitely important. That seems like something that Chris Carter, who's kind of a hippie, wanted to be well, I want people to know that the swastika actually means this.
Yes.
So let's put it in.
The Nazis were the ones that co-opted it. This is the real one. Okay.
That seems like some California shit.
Yes.
Not that, you know what I mean? So obviously does have a deep history, but it does feel like something that he read in a book and was I feel like more people should know this.
Yes.
And so he put it in.
You mean everything Scully ever brings up?
I read that once.
I'm going to write a script about this. Apparently also the producers, quote unquote, agonized over both the teaser and the overall bleakness of the episode, which I guess if you're building around man gets hung to death by his tie, it's going to be kind of
in front of his child.
Right, exactly.
I thought the most interesting part of this episode, which is explored more near the end, but I think would have been more interesting to be the focus of, is this woman being raised in Romania in the old ways and having this really spiritual background and then rejecting that, and then how that her relationship to her mother I thought was more interesting. But obviously she has that line of I thought I was just being punished for rejecting the old ways. Evil follows evil, which obviously happens. And then it is satisfying near the end where everybody else is dead and she has to be the one to like confront her kid, and she like knows all that stuff. And when Mulder's like, do you know what that ritual is? She was like, yeah, I know all of this is. I just didn't want to deal with any of this anymore.
And she does that a couple other times too. Like when the social worker comes to the house, she's like, I have been through enough. I don't want to do this. And
Right.
she's like, well, that's not how that works, but okay.
Yeah. Like this woman just wanted a normal life, and she did not get it.
No, she did not. Her mother and her husband were both murdered, and her toddler was crushed by a train at an amusement park, which her son then asks if they can go ride, which I think is the creepiest part of the
that scene
whole.
is fucked up. Because like the moment that Michael is like, let's go home, and she's like, what about the doctors? And she knows right away. Like she does a good job of communicating like to the audience, like, oh, I know this is not Charlie.
Yes.
Like she goes home and gives him SpaghettiOs and milk, which is actually the most horrifying part. And then he says, can I have a balloon? And can we ride the train? Because you took my balloon away. And also, I love that train.
That train did more for me than you ever did, Mommy.
It is weird that the like stillborn baby knew its name.
Yeah, I guess
don't
if it's
know.
just been hanging around.
Theoretically, yeah, they could have heard him be like, them whispering, be like, we'll never tell Charlie about Michael.
Michael's like, my ass, you won't tell him about me.
I'll tell him everything.
I'm going to make myself known. Okay.
Whoops.
Whoopsies. Should have done that fucking ceremony. Also, I like how they never... I think the other inconsistent thing is they never explain Steve and, like,
Right.
was he evil? Like, why?
Right, because the mom is like, you married the devil. But Steve seemed pretty over the plate and like solid and then
totally
died. Normal.
Yeah. Like, they
I
kind
thought it
of
was
lit
gonna-
him spooky, and he worked for the State Department, so, like, he's a Fed or whatever, but...
Right.
That was like
a colonist
never...
light.
He came to visit Romania in 1985, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't.
Yeah, and I honestly thought it was going to take like a creepier turn of him like having having abducted her or something. And it was like, no, they fell in love and she wanted to move away from Romania, and they actually seemed like they had a pretty solid marriage and like a good life, and he seemed like pretty fine.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, that's the biggest inconsistency of her being like, he's the devil, and it's like, I think he's just not Romanian. I think that's your problem with him. The other kid, for sure, the devil. But this one, I feel like those are two different problems.
I mean, just like inherent white evil, I guess, but like...
It's vanilla and coconut. They're both white. I don't want to eat this. Sorry.
It's true. Charlie did not do the classic evil child thing of, I don't want this food. Give me different food.
No, he loves SpaghettiOs and milk because he's evil.
Your insides are all fucked up. This doesn't bother you at
I
all.
feel like the mouth consistency there.
Milk is disgusting.
SpaghettiOs are thick.
Yeah, you need a thick liquid to wash them down.
The density really pushes it down.
Yeah, you don't want the loner SpaghettiOs stuck up on the roof of your mouth. Just go in and really wash your mouth out with the milk. Give it a good gargle.
Ugh. Oh, God. That gave me a chill.
Like make my stomach turn.
Ah.
Anyway, this child's evil.
Anyways, let's try. Good to know this is the first canonical time we see Chuck. Like,
Yep.
I've seen him before because of the dumb conceit of the show.
He's the only person that helps Mulder that doesn't get murdered for
for
some
him.
reason.
Because he buys into it, and he's like, yeah. Also, if she wasn't here, I would totes be your partner. And Mulder kisses his ass. He's like, this guy's awesome.
Yes, that's true.
It's just like a circle jerk over there. And Scully's just like, why do I have to watch this? Can you just bring
Could
me a
this just
file?
have been an email?
This could have been an email. Oh, big. That's her vibe, though, through a lot of the series. This could have been an email.
Yes.
I did not need this PowerPoint.
Right? You could have sent me the PowerPoint in an email.
I attached it to an email. It's not what I meant.
It autoplays when you open the message. There's no way to turn it off.
There is music that also autoplays for ambiance.
I try to turn my boombox on, but she always tells me no, so I just included it in the PowerPoint. Oh, fuck.
Didn't you learn about wind in kindergarten? That's my favorite line.
So shitty. It's such a sassy thing to say. Did they also teach you about wind in kindergarten?
No, I learned in kindergarten. Balloons go up, not over. Big balloon module.
Oh my god. Oh fuck. It may not surprise you to learn there's not a lot to know about this episode. Let's see. They did recut this episode after it was completed because they wanted to make it scarier, so that like exorcism scene they like filmed and cut it, and then we're like, no, this needs more spinning camera. We need to know that Mulder's being infected by the devil more. More of
It
that.
hurts. Put your hands back on.
Don't take your hands off.
Okay.
I learned, and then at the end, everyone lets go, and he still holds on for like another 30 seconds.
Okay.
They're like, okay, you can let go
Now we're
now.
gonna- Okay, cool.
Okay, just want to make sure this wasn't another test.
I thought you were going to say that they recut it because they had more of an extensive scene where they ran over the kid and they were like, we can't do this.
Well, they did film more like extensive stuff with the kids, but then Fox was like, oh no, absolutely fucking not.
Censors do not love kid murders.
They
historically.
showed, but apparently the original shot with the train didn't pass muster with the Fox censor department, and so they had to re-edit a lot of that to make it less. Apparently, they like directly showed the kid getting hit by the train, basically.
One hand lying there.
Yes, essentially. And Fox was like, no, absolutely fucking not. You cannot be showing a kid as train grease. We're not doing that.
A 2-year-old.
No, absolutely not. There are a lot of like overdubs in this too. I don't know if you noticed that there was like a lot of Mulder's dialogue that they put in afterwards because of the way they recut it too, which I never really noticed until this time where I was like, I was like paying attention to it and was like, oh, that it's like a totally different audio quality. I was like, I've never noticed that before, but that's something that happens in this one. Oh, Fox also had problems with Steve's original strangulation scene, which
Chris Carter was like, this is the whole point.
they wanted to directly show his face while he was dying. And Fox was like, no, you cannot do that.
Wild that now they would be like, yeah, sure. Show his head get ripped off.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Is it on after 11? You can do whatever you want. But that's it, really. Like, it really is mostly about the scenes being recut. There's just not a lot of information about this. Again, very mixed reviews on this. An episode with a lot of great and spooky moments, but messy and chaotic story that could have been better. Like,
I feel like that's like a lot of horror.
And the X-Files.
And the X-Files.
Yes, that's true. Oh, I did find one fact just for you, though. The hospital staircase where Scully and Mulder are standing towards the end of the episode is the same staircase from the episode of Supernatural, In My Time of Dying, Season 2, Episode 1. I didn't look it up.
Season 2, Episode 1. Dean is a ghost.
Oh, okay. Well,
limbo.
Spooky Hospital.
It is a spooky hospital.
Well, it's the same one. There's nothing identifying about it that would make you know that. But, the production staff already knew those people, and we're like, hey, can we film in your hospital again?
Kim Manners was like, I've been here before. Can I come back? And they were like, sure, whatever.
Fine, whatever.
Doing spooky shit again? The basement is open.
All right, that's it. Synopsis showdown?
Sure.
All right, fantastic. A child kills his baby brother via ghost magic and a train, and Mulder makes it his mission to get tagged by the devil.
Turns out, if your mom travels halfway around the world to tell you that your creepy kid is the devil, you should listen, or you'll have to deal with Mulder, and that's the real horror.
We went through this horrifying tragedy, and now this fucking idiot is here.
Ooh. Are you ready for Deep Throat's mission logs?
I am.
Who has summoned me?
Starting with And the Children Shall Lead, this was directed by Marvin J. Chomsky, whom we discussed for his work on All Our Yesterdays. He also directs Day of the Dove, which we'll get to. As Stell mentioned, this was written by Edward J. Lasco, also known for his, I guess, not good work on Combat, Perry Mason, Mission Impossible, and was one of the main writers on all 5 seasons of Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, that is the one that I remember now. Somebody being like, yeah, he wrote a lot of not great episodes of Charlie's Angels.
Which, if you're talking about Charlie's Angels, if you've ever actually watched that show, it is like the thinnest conceits for a plot. And it's just shots to get the angels out on the street doing high kicks and shit.
Yeah.
So there is a deleted scene that reveals that Tommy does tell Kirk the name Gorgon, and that's why they refer to it as. However, this scene originally takes place in the script after Kirk has already used the name. So this was always a mess.
Yeah.
What?
There was never a script or a cut of this that had any kind of sensical story.
It's not great. They just wanted to put a bunch of kids on the show and be like, kids, creepy.
Yeah.
We get a couple of great shots in that lovely Arboretum set that we first saw in Alon of Troyes, but became a deleted scene. And later it is modified again to appear as another Arboretum in Is There in Truth No Beauty?
Ah.
I love me a space gazebo.
Which
It comes the next episode after this.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think it's the next episode.
So they had just had it there lying around.
Yeah.
Definitely. That scene where Kirk is giving orders to Leslie, but his voice is all garbled. They had an opportunity to give me like a juicy nugget here. However, it is just a regular Kirk scripted giving Leslie orders that they reversed the audio on.
Yeah.
It's nothing more interesting than remove Lieutenant Uhura and Mr. Spock, confine them to their quarters. Did you hear me? Remove Sulu. He's not doing his job. So like nothing interesting there, sadly. You could have summoned the devil. You could have said anything there. Nothing.
Nope.
Just nothing. Leonard Nimoy explained that when he complained about the script to Fred Freiberger said, the script is going to be what Miri should have been. Nimoy objected, calling the episode Miri a beautiful, well-acted story, and felt that Freiberger's comments were as much as saying Miri was a piece of trash.
Well,
There are no good opinions in that last paragraph.
I think the interpersonal relationships are more interesting in Miri, like we talked about, but that one is gross. It's just gross. Because Kirk flirts with like a 13-year-old.
Yes.
It's not good.
Not good.
But Spock gets more interesting things to do in that one, which is probably why Spock was like, oh, Spock and Bones are having these like great science arguments, and that's way more fun than being like, I don't know, this space ghost is mad.
I can't follow your orders.
Nimoy, as much as we talk about Fox Mulder and David Duchovny being the same person, in a lot of ways, there is a lot of Nimoy and Spock and a lot of Spock and Nimoy as well. So he takes a lot of this, especially early on, very, very seriously. That is the only time we see that really dumb-looking United Federation of Planets flag, and boy, is it a dumb flag.
It's a terrible flag.
Why is it on like a stick?
So you can shove it into the planet and be like, this planet is ours now.
Oh,
That's
I
how
see.
colonization in space works.
For peace, though, for peace.
I didn't realize that's what it was. I thought they were marking the graves.
Nope, it's the United Federation of Planets. There were big graves there, so theoretically they like replicated graves or some shit. I don't know. Or maybe they have a grave factory in that.
Or that was the grave that they were doing the archaeology on that the Space Ghost was freed from.
Yeah, I don't know. But that was just like a
Totally
regular
unclear.
space flag to be like, our planet now.
Okay.
We'll move on to some casting stuff. That's Lou Elias as the first technician, who we'll see again in Dagger of the Mind. He's an ex-pro footballer turned stunt performer and actor who worked pretty much all the sci-fi action shows of the era as an actor and stunt coordinator. His IMDb bios are entertaining. It feels like they were all either written by like people who knew him or him. So there's just like funny insights into his personality in them. You can go look at that yourself. Mark Robert Brown as Don. He got a soundtrack credit for that creepy version of Ring Around the Rosie.
Oh, nice.
So like you could probably just get residuals or whatever off of that soundtrack credit. That's fun. As we talked about earlier, that is Melvin Caesar Belly as Steve. This is his only credited acting role. Later, he takes up the family business and becomes a personal injury lawyer.
Is Steve the ice cream one?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
That makes sense. They look kind of alike.
Yeah.
That's James Wellman as the barely alive when we meet him, Professor Starnes. He also did a few Days of Our Lives episodes. That's Craig Hundley as Tommy Starnes, whose badass music career we talked about previously when we were discussing Death Tortellini on Operation Annihilate, as Stella mentioned earlier. He's the guy who invents the blaster beam and is on a lot of soundtracks and stuff like that. So we went into that heavily in that episode. That was Mark Robert Brown as Don. And his other credits include Please Don't Eat the Daisies, Lancer, and an episode of The Bill Cosby Show.
Ah, okay.
So
He worked with Bill Cosby and was like, I'm out. I'm not doing any more.
That was in 1969, and then, didn't act after that.
Jesus.
Interesting. Well, he did a good job in this mid-show.
Yeah.
That brings me to Pamela Ferdin as Mary, a very accomplished child actor whose life goes some interesting places. Played a little girl in many mid to late 60s and 70s shows, including with her co-star here, Brian Toshi, on Space Academy, which was a live-action Saturday morning television series produced by Filmation, which aired on CBS from 77 to 79 and was developed out of a rejected concept for an animated series episode.
My Kingdom for Star Trek Academy show / movie.
Hell yes. She voiced Sally on the original C-Lab cartoon, 26 episodes of The Paul Lynde Show, Lucy Baker on Lassie, and has the distinction of being the first actor to kill a Clint Eastwood character when she played Amy in The Beguiled. Good move on you.
Interesting.
She was also on the short list to play Reagan in The Exorcist. In the 80s...
She would have been good.
She would have been really good. In the 80s, she leaves acting, becomes a registered nurse, and also an outspoken animal rights activist, going so far as to receive a 30-day jail sentence in the year 2000 for carrying an elephant bullhook to a circus training protest.
Well, especially if you're a child actor in the 60s, I bet you were around animals a lot and, saw a lot of fucked up abuse backstage.
There's a note about her character in that Clint Eastwood movie I just mentioned, The Beguiled. Amy, she befriends a bunch of animals on set, like a crow and a turtle. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's probably where she picked it up from.
Also probably Lassie.
Yeah.
Also probably Lassie. Ooh, there was a bunch of Lassies, and nobody talks about that. There was a bunch of different dogs that they called Lassie. Yeah. Anyway... Briefly mentioned earlier by me in that last one is Brian Toshi as Ray. He also comes back to Trek to be Ensign Lin in the TNG episode Night Terrors. Throughout the 70s and 80s, he was one of the most prominent East Asian actors working on TV and film. You've definitely seen him or have heard his voice before in roles like guest appearances on The Brady Bunch, Kung Fu, Space Academy like I mentioned, The Renegades, Revenge of the Nerds 1 and 3, don't go back and watch those movies, Police Academy 3 and 4, don't go back and watch those movies, voicing Leonardo in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live action movies, voicing Liu Kang on the Mortal Kombat TV series, the children's news show Channel 1, Johnny Bravo, Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Shiv on Static Shock, Ham Gao and Than on Avatar, and is still working. He's also done a bunch of work for Make-A-Wish in the Special Olympics.
Cool.
So, that little crying Asian kid fucking rocks it.
He was great. They were all those kids
did a
were
great
good.
job.
Yeah. And that brings us to Melvin Belly as Gorgon. Stell spoke of this earlier. He only has maybe 3 or 4 other acting roles, but his last one is playing a judge in an episode of Murder, She Wrote. So, this guy kept trying to do this griff.
Well, because he was friends with all these actors and stuff, or friends, quote unquote. They, whatever. He's played by Brian Cox in the movie Zodiac. Very generous casting.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So
old.
As Stell said, they put that green aura and a lot of reverb in his voice to try to spice up that performance, and even that was not enough.
No.
It did not work at all. Stunt casting.
Ugh.
Moving on to Calusari. So speaking towards some of the mystical influences in this is written by Sarah B. Cooper, who at the time was credited as Sarah Charno. And she has a few other writing credits, including Chicago Hope, Sanctuary, the first Tomb Raider movie. Also has
Which is really good.
Yeah.
That movie fucks.
Also has 2 TNG writing credits, her only 2 credits before this episode. They were The Wounded and New Ground. Most of her credit lists are her serving as co-executive producer on huge shows like House, Sanctuary, Continuum, and the script itself was inspired by her own experience before she was a Hollywood writer of a practitioner of Eastern medicine. So Chris Carter has this idea for the tie and the hanging, and gives that idea somehow to Sarah, and she brings in all of the Eastern medicine influence stuff.
Interesting.
Out of her own personal horror stories with performing rituals and things like that. It kind of paints it in a different color, but it's still weird.
Yeah.
Also, aren't Calusari's mystical dancers?
The original Calusari were an ancient Romanian cult. It is clear that horseman cults existed as far back as ancient Roman times, so it's ancient Rome.
Yeah, they used to do like a special dance
Okay.
in the village. As I recall, they also wore some kind of special costume while they did the dance. But I think that they were also supposed to be some kind of like...
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was like the thing they were known for, is there were a bunch of them and they would dance in the village square. I also found that and was like, what? I don't know how to talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it didn't like feel offensive or anything. Like it did, but it just felt like, for better or worse, it felt like a trope, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I feel watching this episode as well, which is why it strikes me weird that it's credited as being written by somebody with a lot of in-depth knowledge of it.
Right. Well, but that can also just be the way, like, our culture, like, a lot of times in Hollywood, like, certain real religions and real rituals and real backgrounds have been used in ways that make them feel like tropes. So even
Definitely.
if it is written in a semi-authentic or authentic way, it can still feel that way because we've been programmed to think, oh, well, yeah, that's just like this. You know? So it's like a weird Ouroboros of, like, you can't escape it sometimes. Like, again, I didn't feel like it felt, like, offensive or anything. It just felt like, okay, we're just doing, like, some...
Mm-hmm. It feels shoehorned in, almost.
Right. It does feel shoehorned in, too. Especially because, you know, the Calusari guy is like, let me name all of these Roman Catholic type things and, like, like, Eastern European type things. But that's also could just be him being like, I'm explaining it in a way that your dumbass could understand. It wasn't bad, and I liked the follow-up, and I think the mom and the daughter, like, that relationship, again, was the most interesting part for me, but it just felt like, you know.
We might not have gotten enough of the most interesting parts of it. We got Steve. This was directed by Mike Vehar, has a TV directing career that spans from episodes of Fantasy Island and Incredible Hulk to MacGyver and RoboCop to the FX series, which I oddly remember a lot of. It was about, like, a film special effects guy who used his knowledge of special effects and practical effects to, like, fight crime.
Sounds dope.
It was off of a movie. The movie is called FX as well. That's a lot like that.
Interesting.
I've never heard of that.
Me
Interesting.
neither. But it sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
Much of Mike's later credits are actually Star Trek and Babylon 5 episodes. He does 3 Babylon 5 TV movies and 15 episodes, 1 episode of TNG, Coming of Age, 7 DS9 episodes, including the spiritual successor to A Piece of the Action, Bada Bing, Bada Bang, and some of the dark Dominion War episodes. He does 13 episodes of Voyager, including Part 2 of The Year of Hell, and the second part of Unimatrix Zero, and he does 11 episodes of Enterprise. So, like, gives a lot to Trek after this X-Files.
I love that.
Yep. This episode, The Calusari, was the only episode of the series to have received an explicit rating of 18 in the United Kingdom because of all the horrific events and the child death and occasional strong horror, as they said it. And that's why, because of this one episode, any full box set of The X-Files is rated 18 in the UK.
Interesting. This one and not Home? Like
It is weird when you find that stuff out. Like, I know it's like, oh, I talk about Hannibal all the time. But when you think of the horrific shit that happens on Hannibal, the one episode that got like cut for TV or like preempt or like is the one where it's just like, I hate to say this, but like basic murders. It's like Molly Shannon abducts these children or has this cult and these kids like kill their families with a gun, which is bad and horrific, but like, a guy gets turned into a tree. Another guy gets flipped inside out and gets made into a heart statue. There's a literal totem pole of like dead bodies. Like there's some crazy shit that happens, but this like basic quote unquote murder of just like a person with a gun, but because it was kids, that's the one that NBC was like, no. You can do like cattle prodding and stuff, but we can't do just regular kid murder.
wild.
It's wild, yeah. Moving on to some casting, that's George Joseph as Calusari number 4. He was a Romanian-born stunt performer, best known for his work on Reindeer Games, The Sixth Day, and Deep Rising. That's Campbell Lane as Calusari number 3. We also see him play as Homan in the episode Miracle Man, and he plays Senator Romine in Termina and Tunguska.
We'll see those later this season.
He was a Canadian-born actor. He was a Canadian actor and voice actor known for the Dreamcatcher movie, Scary Movie 4. He was Mastermind on X-Men Evolution. He did a bunch of voices on Captain N and the Game Master. He was Skeletor on the New Adventures of Superman, the narrator on a lot of Gundam Wing stuff. He was Baron von Strucker in the David Hasselhoff, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. movie.
Oh, wow.
He played Rampage on Beast Wars, and he's in the Masters of Horror episode Mannerschwitz. I probably murdered that, but that's the one directed by Stuart Gordon, the director of Reanimator.
Are there blankets? Just kidding.
I don't know. I have to go back and watch all those. That's Bill Croft as the Calusari that we see, number 2, I guess, is what we're calling this, whom we spoke about when discussing Never Again for his work as Comrade Svo.
Okay.
That is Kristen Wiles as Karen Kossif, whose face you'll remember from various other character acting stuff as well. We see her as this character again in Elegy and Irresistible, as well as playing Sister Mary in the episode Founder's Mutation. She was nominated for a Leo for her work as the DMV demon on Reaper, also known for her work as Dolores on Dead Like Me, also the Honey I Shrunk the Kids TV show, Granny Goodness on Smallville, Vera Kane on The 100, Patty on Mistresses, and recently voiced Eleanor Roosevelt on the DC Legends of Tomorrow cartoon show. And of course, Supernatural Season 11, Episode 2, Form and Void. She plays Jenna's grandmother.
Oh, that's the one where the darkness is the baby.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything more about that.
Okay, great.
But it's a creepy, I'm 99% sure, I'm not going to look it up, but it's a creepy kid one. It ties in.
It ties in?
Pretty sure she gets killed by that baby. If I'm thinking of the right episode, I don't want to look it up.
That's Rick Reed as Steve Holvey, whom we actually talked about earlier for his role as assistant coordinator all the way back in the second episode of X-Trex when we were discussing Pilot.
Jesus.
High-fiving myself from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And that is K.E. Cutler as the head Calusari.
Thank you.
His credits start in 1951. He was Calvin in the 1955 Guys and Dolls movie. He was Newt Kiley on Petticoat Junction and Green Acres, so played the same character on both of those shows. Richards on the original V-series, and Father Christmas on an episode of Sabrina and the Teenage Witch.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got that vibe.
He sure does.
Also played Cytherian in a TNG episode The Nth Degree, and Syrah on the DS9 episode Storyteller. That's Lillian Chauvin as Golda, a French actress with credits going back to the 50s as well, best known for her work in Catch Me If You Can, Predator 2, and she was Mother Superior in Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is fucking classic holiday B-movie horror. It's so good. She did nearly every TV show I'd mentioned during a Star Trek cast note, except TOS.
Boo.
She continues on to have a long list of small film and TV roles. She also does an episode of TS9, Rocks and Shoals, where she plays Vedek Yassim. That is Joel Palmer as Charlie/Michael. We also see him in the X-Files episode Conduit. He's also known for his younger work on Poltergeist: The Legacy, Family Law, and also in the Dreamcatcher movie.
Sense. They were like, this kid's got a creepy-ass vibe.
Yes.
Yes. And then that is Helene Clarkson as Maggie. Her most known credit is playing Molly in Blood and Donuts, a 1995 movie where a vampire falls in love with a girl who works in a donut shop.
Immediate watch.
Sold. Absolutely sold.
2 of my favorite things.
Your face. You're lit up.
I wrote that note
What?
specifically because, I'm pitching this YAA ass thing to Stell. She
Yeah.
will love it. She will eat it up. She was also...
Get up.
Get out of my house.
She was also Laura on Earth Final Conflict, which was another Gene Roddenberry creation, which we've talked about a couple of times here. One of those, 90s, one season... Anyway.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Anyway, parents are dead. Let's have ice cream. Bye.
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 It is over for now. But you must be careful. It knows you.
Now time for our overall thoughts. These episodes tied together because the kids were good actors and they were evil.
Yep. And that was the theme, and we nailed it.
And also the parents got off.
Not all of them. Maggie survived.
Yeah, Maggie survived.
Not by lack of trying, though.
Yeah. So these kids were bad.
Yes. Evil. Capital E, evil children.
Not good. But they were also being manipulated by other entities.
That's true. By larger evil entities. Hitler and, space marauders.
But not the good kind of space marauders.
No. Evil space
The
marauders.
evil space marauders. How well do these episodes tie together? We just said it. I don't know.
Yeah, they're both mid.
They're both fine.
Yeah, they're both fine episodes.
They're both kind of messy plot-wise.
Yeah.
Some big pulls.
What was your most X-Files moment of this episode?
That's not the first question, Erin, in the fan questionnaire.
Oh, I'm so sorry. How does this hold up with other episodes that you've seen?
We just give up halfway through this episode.
We just said these episodes were fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. But
Yeah.
I would say, overall, all of the kids that have been on the X-Files have all done a really good
Yeah,
job.
the casting for all the kids is
So
good.
whoever's in charge of casting children at the X-Files really is nailing it.
Yep, they're doing a great job.
Doing a
I
great
would,
job.
I would agree with that.
What about you? How does this episode hold up?
Fine, I guess. It's funny because like most of it is fine. It's
You were
just-
you were laughing your ass off
I
this
was
whole
having
time.
a great time. I was having a great time watching it. It really is the ghost. Like if the ghost had been better, I think it would have been a significantly better episode.
Yeah, there's some funny parts and like it was. I
And the
don't.
fist magic.
Right.
That's
I don't think it was supposed to be funny, but it was fun to. It was like it had like MSTK vibes when we watched it together, just
Yeah.
like ripping at it together. It is so much more fun to watch it with another person. I watched it by myself and I was like, ugh. But watching it with you guys, we were like crying, laughing. So
Yes.
like, highly recommend.
way better.
The thesis of this podcast / company: just do things with your friends. Don't do it by yourself.
Yes.
What is the most Star Trek moment of the episode?
Oh, the elevator scene. Duh. Kirk losing his shit because the Enterprise is being threatened and or his role on the Enterprise is being threatened. I've only seen a couple of movies. That seems to go on forever. So
Yes.
it seems very true to him. And then also,
Gay.
the hot.
All Spock has to do is say is Jim, and then he snaps out of it. And he's like, "Well, I'm back."
Just right up in his ear. Jim. Oh, I got a boner.
Thank you, my Vulcan friend. Just work friends. No other.
Just to work, friend.
Just friends.
This is my second in command. Only on the ship. Not in life. Not a life partner.
Just my friend. He's from Vulcan, but also child of two worlds.
And they were roommates.
We're roommates.
They do share a bathroom.
Well, you know what that means.
Yeah, you want some links. Anyways, the most X-Files episode or moment for me was when the Calusari was like, "Don't look at him," and Mulder like looked around the room and then immediately looked right back at the devil. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm back.
I can only look at the walls melting wax for literally 4 seconds, and then I'm looking at this demon.
Gotta look right in the eyes. Are you shipping anyone?
Yes, Burke, duh.
I love that you go, "This isn't even my ship, but this is hot."
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it's so funny.
Were you shipping anyone?
No, I'm so sorry.
Mulder and Chuck.
Yeah, Mulder and Chuck for sure. Just a professional circle jerk.
And maybe a less professional one if you'd like.
Is this episode a fine or a flop?
Fine. Wildly fine.
I think this is a fine plus for the performances. For
I
me,
can
for
see
the
that.
X-Files one.
Yeah, I could see that. I think there are things about the Star Trek one that might edge in that direction, but the Ghost is so bad. It's just a straight mid. It's like one of the more mid episodes I
Yeah.
remember. Like, that's fine.
For sure.
Glad it's not bad.
Yeah, well,
Forget.
buckle up for this next one.
Jesus Christ. All right. Well, you can find us on the internet. You can follow us at NYD Productions on Twitter and interact with the show using the hashtag XTrekSpod. And you can find me at NYD Urgency on Instagram.
You can find me on Twitter at Stella_Cheeks.
And you can find me on Twitter for now, I guess, at Haberdasher9K.
You can also email us at xtrekspod@gmail.com with questions or comments. If you'd like links where Kirk and Spock adopt children, I definitely have those. Also, MPreg, I do also have those. And bathroom ones where it's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were shaving in here. Maybe, can I shave next to you? Can I touch your face?"
Oops, we shaved together, now I'm pregnant. That's how it happens with my species.
Yeah, that's how it works.
And if you would like to learn how to accidentally get pregnant from other species through fan fiction or have access to our bonkers episode notes, episode outtakes, fun stuff like our company Discord. This is me willing you with the magic of fisting to go to patreon.com/NYD Productions to get access for all that and more for at least $1.
Oh my God. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and to tell your friends. We find this nerdy shit is better when it's shared.
We'll see you next time for the Vietnam War episode.
Fuck.
In the meantime,
Believe boldly.
Seek truth?
ship proudly.
X-Trex is created and written by Stella Cheeks, Erin Cline, and Bobby Hoffman, and produced by Bobby Hoffman for NYD Productions. Our show theme is Alien Spy by Ionix, and our show art was made by Jonathan Curtis.